Good evening, a very, very warm welcome. It is Sunday evening, 8 p.m. Indian Standard Time, and time for our live session Work on Workplace Relations with Aastha. And I am looking forward to welcoming all of you. As always, I am excited. So do join in. And as you join in, drop me a hi so that I know who's here live with me. I'm Aastha Tatia, your happiness coach, and this show, Work on Workplace Relations with Aastha, is all about delving deeper into the workplace relationship challenges, which are very, very critical to creating the whole workplace experience. And ultimately, they all boil down to your relationship with yourself. So, we pick up one aspect of life every time which may or may not directly pertain to workplace relationship or struggles. However, they lead you to creating more forwarding and more desired results in the area of relationships, right? Hi, welcome. Hi, Sunil. Hello, thank you for joining in. Lovely to have you here. Great. So, just waiting for more people to join in. And today, what we're going to talk about is teams. Such an integral part, such an important part of your everyday work life. And a lot of leaders have shared this concern that, it is difficult to motivate the team or keep the team motivated, and that's where and in different contexts. So there is a leader who has joined new, is new to the organization, and the team is new, or there is a leader who is moved to a new department, a new role, and it's a new team, or for somebody who's leading a team for the first time. You've been a solo action taker, handling everything, but then reporting to somebody. That's it. Now you have somebody reporting into you, and you've got to manage the team, right? So different scenarios there could be. So you need to see which one are you into, which one are you stuck into. Stuck, I'm using the word stuck because when you find yourself feeling challenged about handling or motivating your team, then the feeling is almost like that of stuck, being stuck. And this is by virtue of the impact it has on you, impact it has on your team, and the overall working environment, right? So so talking about what leads to this challenge of keeping the team motivated and you finding yourself unable to do it. Yeah. So I think couple of things that I want to talk about here today is number one, after you've identified which is that scenario, you know the scenario. I'm new to this organization, and more particularly in the current scenario when maybe there is not as much face to face interaction, people are working remotely. Keeping the team motivated, building that connect in such times, which is with such a setup, sure has its own challenges, right? But within whatever it is, now that's there, okay? You are new to the team, you are new in the organization, or the role itself, handling a team for the first time, is something which is a first for you. Whatever it is, I think one thing which is at the core of it, which is foundational, is that we are all human beings. And human beings, we are all emotional beings. So there are a lot of emotions at play. And same applies to your team also. Whatever be the scenario, pandemic or prior to pandemic, there are a whole lot of emotions that go on. There are a whole lot of needs which are at the core, which are foundational to our existence. We all want to be listened to, we all want to be seen, we all want to be acknowledged. So, whatever be the tools, techniques, interventions that you try and do to motivate your team, that surely is there. That's on one side. But I think what is the context, what is the context that you have for yourself as a leader with respect to your team, with respect to your bond with your team? What's that context? Because that context is driving you. If you are thinking, oh, this is my team, I need to get the work done, they better be coming up with out of box ideas, they should come up with solutions or things, they should ideate, and they're not doing it, they are just not motivated, they only want to fulfill the tasks, not a great team. If all of that goes in your mind, then that's how you are going to respond to them, to whatever they say, and that's how you're going to conduct yourself when you are with them. So you need to be watchful of what is your context. If only you can be mindful and aware of this basic fact that as human beings, we all want to be admired, appreciated, acknowledged. We all want a powerful, meaningful communication. We all want to experience that belongingness, that relatedness, more particularly in this time. Then I think things become very, very different. With that as your base, as your foundation, when you approach your team, then your actions, your behaviors are going to be absolutely different, right? So, first, you need to see, first step, what is my context for this current setup? Whether I'm new to the organization, new to the role, whether I am, entering a new department now, it's a new team for me, anything, what is my context? So, setting up an inspiring context for yourself, and not just for yourself, sharing it with the team, because you have a certain context that's driving you, whereas your team has no idea about it. So something like, that my team is my backbone, if that drives you, okay, that's your context, inspiring context. Or I have my team has my back. Okay, let's say if something like this, they are my backbone, my team has my back, or we have a very, very powerful connect. I have a very powerful connect with my team. If that's the context, and when you share it with your team, that hey people, hey team, I am operating from this context, this is the work that we are going to do, but we do it together. This is the kind of connect that I look at and I really want to have with you. I am always standing for you. I'm having your back, and I also know that you have my back. That's how I want to be. That's how I want to work. Just an example. Up to you. What inspires you? But something like this, when you share with your team, and then you ask them, what do you think about it? What are your thoughts on this? Are you in sync? They may come up with their own thoughts. So you're doing two things. One, you are enrolling them in your context. So you're on the same level, same page. And two, they are already, you're making them comfortable, and you're creating a space in which to coexist and co create, right? So your team already gets that vibe that, oh, okay, we can, and in that space, so many other things can be said, can be felt, and can be accepted together. So that's just an example. So context is very, very powerful. And then I think one big thing we completely miss out on is communication. Now, communication does not only mean work related communication. Hey, have you done this? Not done this? This was urgent. Why hasn't it been done? You've got to do this. You don't have to. It is about you, and that depends, varies from individual to individual. Some people go to the extent of getting involved in people's personal lives, some don't. Now, that is absolutely your choice, your comfort level. However, letting the other person know that I'm there, okay, and that means what's going on in his life, what is impacting him, could be in his personal space, but he may be carrying it to the workplace, and that's hampering him. So being there for him. You may not be the solution provider, that's fine, but being there to give him that support, that comfort, to listening to him, having that one-on-one with him. You may have your team meetings, but how about having those one-on-one conversations with your team members? How often do you have those? And especially, let's say, when you've come to this new role, new position, or new organization, it is all the more important to build that connect with your immediate team. So, having that one on one with them, understanding who they are, not just in terms of what's the work, how much have you done, how efficient he is, how much of value he brings to the table. Yes, but viewing him largely as a human being who also is full of emotions, right? So viewing him from that perspective and interacting with him, giving him that space, understanding him, getting the flavor, getting the pulse, so okay, this is what this man is. So tomorrow, if you need to know these are 10 people in my team, immediate reportees, then those 10 people, know them as in not knowing the facts of their life in and out, but know them as in the vibe each person carries. What does each person stand for? What matters to that person? If you can get to that level, then you can't even imagine the kind of connect you're going to have with that person. So it's not always about he's not doing the work or he's doing the work and therefore he's good and therefore he needs to be appreciated, acknowledged. He's not doing it, so there's no reason to acknowledge him. We all, the fact that person is there, his presence does mean something. There is some amount that he's contributing. Can you acknowledge him for that? So communicating with people, acknowledging them, right, appreciating them for what they are doing, or maybe first step acknowledging them and then also sharing what can be worked upon. Yeah. So first acknowledging and then sharing that. So all I'm trying to say is these are a couple of things which are foundational. See, understand you are operating from your belief system as a leader. If you are coming and you have your own lens, you're wearing your own spectacles and you're viewing them from that filter, then that's how you're going to operate. That's how your actions are going to be, your behaviors are going to be, right? If you are coming there and you think micromanaging is the way, I need to keep a tab on each person who is doing how much. For all you know, you think micromanaging has worked for you in the past and that's the way to be. You have no idea, you just go on doing it, and here your people are getting irked. They are not feeling, they're feeling suffocated, they don't feel the growth, they don't feel this experience, that space to just feel nurtured, nourished, and you have no clue. You are just operating in that one direction, thinking that you're doing a great job, with no space for them to walk up to you and share. So I'm saying you need to also figure out what is that belief system, a deep rooted belief that you carry for your team. That's the filter with which you are viewing them. That's the lens through which you are viewing them. And therefore, your behavior, your actions are also coming across in the same fashion, in the same manner. So being open to giving them that space where they can approach you, walk up to you, and at the same time being open to getting a feedback. As a leader, being open to getting a feedback. Now, that's quite scary for a lot of leaders. You don't want to be on the spot, you don't want to be pointed out, you don't want to appear weak. Well, the fact remains you may not want to hear that, but that's still going on in their minds. And by not listening to that, by not giving the opportunity to your team to voice that, all you are doing is you're pushing it under the carpet. It's still there and it's only piling up. Whereas if you give them the opportunity through whatever mechanisms, I'm not talking about mechanisms today, I'm just talking about foundational core. If you give them that opportunity, to be able to voice out, to be able to share with you that I think this is where I feel there's a concern or where I feel a little suffocated, or if we could turn this around. And you could do that one on one if you feel, not on a group forum, but if you want to do that one on one, more in depth, that will help you create a deep connect with your team, and it will help you grow as a leader, as an individual. Trust me, getting feedback is, it's so precious. If there is somebody who's ready to give you a feedback, please welcome him with folded hands, provided you are committed to your growth. If you're not, your choice, of course. But as a leader, if you want to grow, then getting that feedback from your team is one of the most powerful ways. Whether they are feeling empowered or not, you feel the team is not motivated, for all you know, you may be inspiring them, you may be impacting their lives in so many different ways. You have no idea about it because you're not asking them. You may be operating from your own belief system. No, 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 no. If I ask, this will happen. What if they say something unpleasant? What if they don't like me as a boss? I don't want to hear that. It's unpleasant. And you just push it aside. So, feedback is yet another powerful way to understand. See, we keep operating under our belief systems, we keep cooking up stories. So, because I'm micromanaging, maybe the team thinks this, or because I said this, the team doesn't like this. What am I doing which is keeping them demotivated? Or what is it that I'm missing out? What am I not doing? Oh, that day I did this, no, so team would have felt this because of this. And we build and build, create and create stories. We are very good at that. Such a time waste, effort waste, pulls you down, you feel disempowered, you don't have an access, you don't know what to do. And you don't have an access because you don't know what is at the source. You don't know what's really happening. And you can go on imagining, which is what a lot of times I see leaders doing. They imagine, they think, probably this is the reason, so let me do this. The reason also you've thought on your own, and what you can do also you've thought accordingly, without involving the other party, without involving the other team. So you don't even know what's really going on. So lack of communication, lack of feedback mechanism is a very, very, I would say, a big miss out. So, if you really want your team to be motivated, if you really want to have a powerful connect with them, if you really want that you co create, like literally co create, not as separate entities that, oh, here's a leader, here's a team, and um, we are operating as two independent entities. This is what I'm supposed to do as leader, this is what you are supposed to do as team, and okay, wherever you need support, come to me, I'll need support, I'll come to you, etc., etc. That could be one way of doing it. If it's working for you, great. But most of the times it doesn't. Yeah, because when there is a common vision, when there is a context that has been shared, and when you are operating on the same page, then it's like this. Then your team has your back, you have your team's back, and then you are there for each other. And that's very, very powerful. Then, if you say something which is unpleasant, the team knows it's out of that love, that respect, that ownership. When the team falters, they will still be committed. They will ensure you, they make it work for you. We've had enough examples where teammates are willing to do anything for their leader, go to any length for their leader, because that's what the leader has demonstrated. Yeah. So it's not about something is missing in you, or there is a fault, or you're not a good leader. It's just that there are certain barriers which we miss out on. We need to see those barriers. What is holding me back as a leader? If only I can look at that, if only I can turn here, instead of trying to figure out ways, if I can pause and see, okay, one, where am I operating from right now? You know, this. But which of these is not serving me and my team? Okay, how can I turn it around? Am I just imagining this, or this is reality? Imagining as in, is this just a belief that I hold, or is it reality? How can I find out what's really going on? Okay, by communicating, can I walk up to my team members? Can I invite them for a one-on-one coffee and understand what's really going on? Communications are very, 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 very powerful. Do not undermine, do not underestimate the power of communications. And a lot of times, the people who you think, what will he contribute? They sometimes make such important points. They give you such amazing feedbacks because they are looking at it from a different perspective. We all have different perspectives. And every sharing, every conversation will give you a new perspective, will help you understand a different aspect of the whole thing that you may be completely missing out on, right? So just consider doing some of these things you may be doing, right? But if you're missing out on these, so quickly to let you know, number one, understanding your context, focusing, or I would say rather, identifying what is the context that you are currently operating from, and what would be an inspiring context that you want to create. Number one. Number two, is there a communication? Are you missing out on the communication? So it could be a one-on-one communication. It could be you can set up a system, what works for you, a periodic communication with your team, group level, team wise, whatever works for you, depending on the structure of your team. Yeah. And even before that, looking at what is my belief. Am I somewhere getting biased towards this person, towards this team? Can I just step back, maintain or get some distance and look at this person from a distance? Because that bias, that filter sometimes overpowers us so much that there is no other way we are ready or willing to look at that person. He is this way. This is who he is. He cannot operate in any other way. So we don't want to look at any possibility, right? So it becomes very, very important that you step back, look at that person, have that communication if you're not doing it, acknowledge people. We all want to be acknowledged. As a leader, how do you feel when your boss acknowledges you, when your colleagues acknowledge you? Then what makes you think these people, your team members, your teammates, do not want to be acknowledged? Yeah, so acknowledge them for whatever. That you don't have to have a reason to acknowledge them. When you start acknowledging them, you will find more and more reasons to acknowledge them. When you start thanking them for just being there, for being a part of your team, for cooperating, for supporting you, for having your back, for whatever they are doing, which brings the value to the table, it's going to make a huge shift, right? Context sharing, you've created the context for yourself. How are you going to view the team? How are you going to approach? Share that context with your team. This is what I want with all you people. This is the kind of camaraderie I want. This is the kind of bond I want with you all. And you see how much of relatedness, belongingness comes in. It'll be a joy. And yes, I'm not saying this all happens overnight. Our beliefs in themselves are so overpowering, powerful. That's the way we've lived. Those are habits. You've been operating like that for such a long time. But once you start doing it, it needs a lot of awareness. What am I doing? If only you can get aware about yourself. Forget for some time, just forget about what the team is doing, right? Focus on what's happening here, what's going on here. When I go in the meeting, what's happening here? What starts here? Yeah, that's very, very important. And then enroll them rather than all the time, you've got to do this, you've got to do this, you don't have to do this, this is good, this is not good. Instead, how about enrolling them? Don't you do that with every other person at your home, with your kids, with your spouse? Telling doesn't work all the time. I understand a leader and employee relationship is slightly different, but I always say, always bear in mind, at the end we are human beings. You can communicate the same thing in a way where this needs to be done, And the other way of communicating is, how about we do this? What do you think? Now just imagine the feeling that the person gets is absolutely different in both the cases. You tell him you've got to do this, he'll still do it, right? When you say, how about we do this? This is what I'm thinking. What do you think? What are your thoughts on this? The moment you tell the person what are your thoughts, you ask him, it makes the person feel acknowledged. It makes him feel important. It makes him feel, and when he shares, it makes him feel seen and heard. And we all want that as human beings, right? So I'm sure you may be doing some of these things and you may not be doing certain other things. Whatever you are not doing currently, try them out. Yeah, just start doing it in bits and pieces, different shapes and forms, experiment, explore. I think that's the joy of this whole journey. And enjoy, that connection that starts to build up. And it's okay, there are times when we go down again. We may behave in a manner which is not very exciting. We later think, oh God, why did I do this? But that's okay, it's human. Get back to it, bounce back. Yeah, and you will see slowly and gradually a very powerful vibe and connect starts to build up in your team. You will experience that. Yeah, I can guarantee you. But it just starts with that small action, consistent action, awareness on your part. Yeah. Hi, Mukta. Thank you for joining in. I'm glad this resonates with you. Thank you so much. So that's the whole idea. Let me know if this was meaningful for all of you. Those of you who are going to watch it later also, please do share your thoughts. What was it that hit you, that resonated the most with you? What is it that you plan to do differently now? Yeah, do let me know. And yes, I'm going to see you next Sunday, 8 p.m. Indian Standard Time again with the next live. Um, yeah, that's about it. Till then, have a great, great week ahead. Lots of happiness, lots of love to all of you. And do create the bond with your team. It's going to be a joy to work. So don't worry, your team is going to be motivated. Just turn inwards and figure out what's holding you back. Go all out, connect with them, give them that love, that respect, and you'll see it coming back in multiples. Okay, and they will tell you what's working, what's not working. That'll happen. At the core, we are all the same human beings. Remember that. Okay. Lovely. Take care. Bye bye. And waiting to hear from all of you. Thank you, Mukta. Thank you so much.